time has expired, and I call the honourable member for Hotham.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and it's great to have the chance to make another contribution on the toxic and unfair first Abbott government budget, and in particular this conversation this afternoon, this very important conversation about higher education. Now, all of us in the sitting break have had plenty of time to be back in our electorates and talking to our constituents about the things that they're concerned about. And I know that I've been talking to a lot of people about health concerns they have about the $7 GP co-payment. I've heard about issues about pensions and the changes that are being made over the other side of the House. But what's been interesting, Deputy Speaker, is that no matter who I talk to, whether it's mums, whether it's pensioners, whether it's young people, even community organisations, pretty much everyone raises a concern about what this government is trying to do with higher education. And what we see day after day in question time is the minister coming in and talking about this sort of perverse equity argument. What about the tradespeople? What about the casual workers who don't have higher education degrees? And I can tell you that that is not how Australians think. The people that we talk to in our electorates who don't have higher education, they don't resent paying taxes so that young people in this country can have equal opportunities. They are concerned about their kids and whether they'll get the chance to go to university. They're concerned about their neighbours and their neighbours' children and whether they'll have the chance to go to university. Now, I was very lucky over the sitting break to have a wonderful visit just near my electorate out in Monash University. The member for Chisholm welcomed us there, and we had the member for Kingston, the Shadow Assistant Minister for Education. She was fantastic. What a fantastic advocate this woman is for higher education and for equal opportunities in this country. She's done a wonderful job going around the country. We had a crowd of students and a crowd of teachers. And gee, we had some interesting conversations. And I want to talk about one student that I met, a young man named Nick, a student at Monash University, who comes from Horsham. And Nick has been lucky to get to go to Monash, but he raised some concerns for me about the impact on regional students. Now, we know that Universities Australia and other organisations have made lots of really formal pronouncements about the impact on regional universities, but I found it particularly emotive talking to Nick because this is a young person who's concerned about the young people in Horsham where he comes from. And he wrote me an email after the event saying that I'm very concerned about the impact of deregulation on rural areas like Horsham. Horsham's home to Federation University, where only 3 areas of study are offered. It's a small rural campus with very little student attendance. Under deregulation, I just cannot see how the campus will remain open. If the campus closes, I fear that many people in the local area will just choose not to undertake higher education at all. My final question, he says, is simple. Where are the Nationals in this debate? And I hate to say, it's a lot of fun for us Labor people to come in and have a red-hot go at the Liberals, but you've got to say, where are the Nationals in this debate? He finishes his email saying, how can the rights of country people be fought for when none of the Nationals' local members are fighting for them in the party room or in the parliament? Now, I do want to make some comments about the impact of these changes on Australian women, Deputy Speaker, because we know that Australian women are going to pay much more for their degrees than men will under the new system. I don't want to go too much into the detail, but we know that a female science graduate will pay about $123,000 for a science degree and still be paying off her degree when she's 40 years old. We know that about 40% of women may never pay off their debts in their lifetime. Now, the truth of these changes is that women are going to be less likely to study at prestigious universities as a result of these changes. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, can I just refer you to the basic principle of microeconomics, that when the price of something goes up, demand goes down. If you don't understand that, you should not only not be running the country, you shouldn't be running a lemonade stand. We will see fewer women get educated at premier universities around the country. And can I say, it's a good example of where, on this side of the House, Deputy Speaker, we see education as the great leveller of social disadvantage. This is the way that a young person who's born in Springvale, in my electorate in Hotham, to a migrant family can go on and become a partner in a law firm or come in and be a member of this House. But what we see is that when you use a system like that is being proposed, instead of being a leveller of social disadvantage, education becomes an entrencher of social disadvantage, because those with the most means go to the best universities and do the best degrees, and that is the way that these powers get entrenched. Deputy Speaker, there is so much more that I could talk about. I do want to mention real solutions. It's one of my favourite things to look at. When we need a bit of a laugh in this chamber, we like to bring in real solutions. But on this serious subject, a promise was made, an ironclad commitment that university funding would not be changed. And that has been a spectacular breach of faith that we have seen the Education Minister, one of the worst that we have seen in this budget, and Labor will continue to fight these changes to the hilt.
Order. Call the honourable member.